The Evil Within was the first survival horror game I had ever played on the hardest difficulty, and it was one of the best gaming experiences I've had in a long time. It wasn't as reliant on skill as it was having an unbreakable will and accepting the inevitability of reoccurring, instantaneous death. 380 times in my case. Despite the learning curve that came with the trial and error, janky level design, and overabundance of ludicrously overpowered enemies, I had a great time meandering through STEM, and fighting my way through Ruvik's legion of WTF was that. Naturally, I was hyped to find out that The Evil Within had gotten a sequel, because I wanted more of the limitless possibilities from STEM. I also had hopes that The Evil Within 2 would tie up the narrative loose ends of the first game and expand the world of STEM beyond the mental plane. It also promised a much harder challenge than Akumu, Classic Mode. The achievement for this mode, fittingly named You Asked For It Again, was the last one I needed before fully completing The Evil Within 2, but earning it unlocked my own personal 10th Circle of Hell. So, what exactly made Classic Mode's difficulty so much harder than Akumu? A lot more. As it was with Akumu's difficulty, Classic Mode can only be accessed after completing the main campaign all the way through, and with a story length that's approximately 20 hours, that's enough for the average player. Unlike The Evil Within, with its set level design and linear scare sequences, its sequel introduced open-world exploration and crafting. Resources were non-existent, meaning I had to ensure every bullet counted. Furthermore, Classic Mode could only be started in a completely new save, eliminating all the bonus awards unlocked in previous playthroughs, which also meant, once again, Sebastian was reverted back to his base stats. Unlike Akumu mode, Classic Mode removed green gel and weapon parts entirely, forcing Sebastian to face increasingly more difficult scenarios without upgrades for himself or his arsenal. Since his weapons couldn't be buffed in any way, stealth and environmental kills became a priority. Stealth in both Evil Within games is incredibly broken. It more or less guarantees an insta-kill on every generic enemy, which helps save power ammo for mini-bosses and bosses. That being said, stealth in The Evil Within 2 is much harder to pull off, and sometimes outright not worth it. Every enemy in The Evil Within 2 is a threat, due to the fact that all of them were gifted with sharp perception, speed, and the ability to run into Sebastian like a 35,000-pound semi. And because I wasn't handicapped enough, Classic Mode removed all autosave functionality, and only allowed 7 manual saves for the entire game. If I was in over my head for completing Akumu, then I've officially gone psychotic for putting myself through the Classic Mode experience. For my second survival horror outing, I learned a new level of human misery and determination, so much so, I wasn't going to back off until I beat the goddamned game. Since the convoluted mess of a story carried over from the first game, all you really need to know is that Sebastian Castellanos became a chronic alcoholic after the Beacon incident, which is honestly the most realistic aspect of the Evil Within 2's story. Upon entering STEM for his second outing, it was clear that things were off from the start. Instead of spawning into an idyllic town that was initially promised by Mobius, the aforementioned shady organization, Sebastian was dumped into a Victorian art gallery, where the works on display were violently mutilated bodies suspended in time. Luckily, the proprietor, who was a fashionably dressed gentleman, was kind enough to demonstrate how exactly he made his artworks. Not wanting to join the ranks of his masterpieces, I navigated to the one place in every horror scenario where nothing ever goes wrong, the basement, and was immediately greeted by this abomination. Now would be a great time to move.
Fuck.
Thank God this can actually sprint this time around. He definitely didn't do that during the first game, and, well, that ended poorly. On numerous occasions, might I add. Ah yes, because a door is gonna stop the 2-ton-pound beast behind you.
Trapped in here.
After narrowly escaping the multi-headed bundle of limbs and a buzzsaw to boot, I was teleported into an isolated house in the middle of nowhere. For whatever reason, the previous owner left a conveniently placed pistol underneath a stack of books next to the door. I couldn't have complained though, because that pistol ended up saving me from the first of many lost in the world of The Evil Within 2. Unlike the Haunted from the previous game, the Lost are on constant crackhead energy, acting as lean, mean murdering machines that actually pose a threat to Sebastian at this point in the game. After receiving pity supplies from the game's tutorial, he was then expected to navigate through a trio of the Lost to enter the first official safe house and gather intel from the fleeing Mobius operative. As I mentioned before, stealth is a game changer when your options are burning valuable bullets or outright dying. So with enough patience, I was able to sneak my way into my first of 7 saves and officially introduce myself to Liam O'Neill. Since I didn't want to redo the entire prologue of the game again on the very likely chance that I died moving forward, this felt like the most logical choice at the time. It's not like I was going to regret that decision later on. Chapter 3 is where the Evil Within 2 truly began, as from that point forward, how I built up my arsenal was entirely dependent on my willingness to scavenge across the vast town of Union, and I really wasn't that eager to put myself into harm's way so early on in the game. Luckily for Sebastian, the Warden crossbow and sniper rifle were relatively easy to obtain, all things considered.
Bruh.
After that, I spent as much time as I could looting, getting my hands on as many crafting components and locker keys as possible, avoiding areas and enemies that were too dangerous for me to face. I would be lying if I said I didn't have any close calls. I don't even think that was the guy I meant to kill. What the f- Wait, where? Come on. Ugh. God, made me waste all that good ammo. After feeling like I secured enough supplies to progress the story, I made my way to the pit stop, which then triggered a scavenger hunt all the way back to the construction site on the other side of Union, where I had to fight my way through a bunch of Lost blocking the entrance. Come on. Alright. Alright. Spook. Spook. Dead. God, reticle sway is awful. After getting inside the site and then the warehouse, the owner of the art gallery reappeared and summoned 3 hellspawn to mow me down.
Fuck.
Come on. God damn it. 6 bullets.
Out of ammo.
Zero bullets, 1 bullet.
Lost him again.
With my shamelessly easy victory, I made my way back to the original safe house, where O'Neill awaited my return to give me vital information, which brought Chapter 3 to a close. Chapter 4 was the first prime example of "f you" in The Evil Within 2. While I was eternally grateful for the much-needed gas mask, I now had to run all the way back across Union to the second safe house to then enter the Marrow, the only functional pathway to City Hall, which also meant I had to contend with all the extra bullshit the game sent in after I took out the trio of Hellspawn. Rather than going in guns blazing, I took my time and snuck around the vast majority of the Lost, only using force when necessary. After making my way into the safe house, I decided to head into Sebastian's room so that I could get ammunition via crafting and resources from Tatiana's shooting gallery. A familiar face totally unlike her emotionally dead self from the previous Evil Within, Tatiana actually seemed enthused to help me out this time around. Sure, she couldn't give me brain surgery to make me a better survivor, but at least she provided access to her incredibly needed morgue lockers as well as the aforementioned shooting range. Unfortunately for me, supplies weren't just given, they had to be earned. Not only that, but there were 2 modes where I had to prove that I could actually aim worth a damn. Let's just say that I spent more time in the range than I'd like to admit. Oh, 93!
Still got it.
Not what I want though, because I want the gunpowder. Damn it! 78!
Still got it.
Shut up. It's not the 100,000. I need the gunpowder. You need the gunpowder. Damn it! 91! Damn it! Oh my god, I did it! Yes! Oh my god. I'm not... Ah! Dude, oh my god! $560 for moving? That was bad. 3,000! Damn, that's even worse! How am I getting progressively worse at this? I'm getting progressively worse! Ah! Dude, are you shitting me? Damn, 3,270. How am I supposed to get that higher? Alright, yep, no. I'm just grabbing the shit and I'm going, because I still got lots to do. After getting my priorities straight, I decided to press onwards in my quest to find the core. Upon navigating deeper into the marrow, I found myself in a room that was practically screaming impending horde. I will, though, however, be eliminating these enemies because they're gonna wake up and make my life even harder than it needs to be. Luckily, though, I can just do this, and their heads pop like jelly. It's crazy.
Emergency lockdown deactivated. Please wait for system reboot of each annex. Stand by. System reboot complete. Emergency lockdown fully disengaged.
After yet another shamelessly easy victory, I finally reached the location where the gas mask would get its time to shine. For the first time in Evil Within history, the perspective switched to first person. Not only that, but it was also a mandatory stealth section that incorporated the flammable gas bullshit from Chapter 11 in the Evil Within. The first enemy was laughably easy to take down. The second one, not so much. The second enemy was a lament. Laments are beefed up variations of the Lost that emit a toxic green cloud, and scream at Sebastian's approach while simultaneously sapping his stamina. While they aren't that much stronger than the average Lost, requiring not one but 2 stabbings, this particular lament made me believe I had gotten soft-locked because it kept getting caught on the scenery. Once I realized that I just had to bait it back to its starting position, I was able to clear the sewer section and make it over to City Hall. I'm glad Chapter 4 gave me a metric ton of supplies because Chapter 5 threw not one, but 2 boss fights Sebastian's way. From the moment the giant red tentacles came raining out of the sky, it was clear that shit was going to get real, and Chapter 5 did not disappoint. It took less than 2 minutes for me to be reintroduced to the bundled massive limbs with the buzzsaw to boot from way back in Chapter 2. Tired of running, I decided that I was going to stand my ground.
NANI?!
Where the f am I going? damn it! And after conquering that beast, I was rewarded with another boss fight in the form of Obscura, a sentient mass of body parts mixed with an old-time camera that I had to distract as a timer counted down. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
That thing is stopping the emitter from activating.
Where are you, you fugly?
That got it going. I just have to hold it off until the emitter starts.
80 seconds. 70 seconds.
Where are you? Oh, fuck!
Seconds. Seconds. 20 seconds.
Ten seconds. Come on, let me have this.
Stable field emitter starting.
Bye, Obscura. Nice.
Stabilization procedure completed.
After cleaning up Mobius's mess and finally learning the name of the psychotic artist from Chapter 2, Stefano Valentini, Chapter 5 came to an end. Chapter 6 was a quick jog through the marrow. It was also an introduction to the Watcher, a large droopy mess of white slime that I didn't do a very good job of hiding from.
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god! What is that?
It didn't really matter though because I was able to get away pretty easily, and I eventually made my way to my second of 7 saves. Chapter 7 was a quick trip across Union, where I had to locate and destroy Stefano's paintings to gain access to the theater. One of the paintings in a bar not far off from the safe house had me deal with a small bunch of the lost. While the other on the other side of Union reintroduced me to Obscura. Yeah, out of my way. Oh my god! Damn! Why did it do so much damage? Once both of his artworks were thoroughly stabbed, I could then backtrack to the final showdown against Stefano, bringing Chapter 7 to a close.
He's gotta be in here somewhere.
Even though Stefano went down without a hitch, I didn't want to risk it, because I didn't know if I'd get as lucky again. So, I decided to make my third of 7 saves, which also brought Chapter 8 to a close. I wanted to believe that the canon death of Stefano would usher in another interesting villain for me to face off against. This was not the case. This is the point in The Evil Within 2 when my least favorite character began to take the reins and introduced some of the worst enemy types in the game. Chapter 9 began with a trip through a medieval prison, where I had to contend with a small batch of the lost. This is also where I got my first official death of my classic mode run. Oh my god! God damn it, really? Oh, I was alive? What the? After running it back, I made it to the introduction of the Disciples, aka the Fire Bastards. While they didn't punish me now, I was in for a rude awakening in later chapters, especially when I had to contend with more than one disciple. Not to get too far ahead of myself, I eventually navigated to the next room, which contained the mechanism that opened the next door, which brought Chapter 9 to a close. Chapter 10 didn't make it take long for me to secure my second death in the run, as the game decided to overwhelm me with the lost.
Son of a bitch! Hey!
Oh!
Here, would ya?
No! What? No! My save after the Stefano fight was completely justified, which meant I only had to repeat the jail section and disciple introduction. 20 minutes later, and determined to beat the Horde, I cleared the log cabin after my second attempt. What? Is there another one?
They just keep coming!
So are we.
I think it's dead. Is that it?
I think that's the last of them.
Jesus. I did it! Wait, no, I did it! Woo! My reward for surviving the onslaught? a disciple stealth section, which wasn't awful, but did piss me off a couple times. Oh, f*** off!
Eat lead, ugly son of a bitch!
God, I hate these guys. No thanks to you, you dumb bitch. Oh, f me. Ah! Alright, I would have preferred to save more resources there, but... I mean, I guess I did. I'm not as bad off as I was before.
Well, that's one way to do it. I was maybe expecting a little bit more stealth.
Who the f are you to judge me? Luckily, the safe room awaited me on the other side of the next couple of sections, where I happily made my 4th of 7 saves and finally put Chapter 10 to a rest. Chapter 11 had me exploring a restricted area of the Marrow in a quest to track down a key character who was introduced back in Chapter 6. I had to stealth around a horde of the Lost to retrieve a Mobius chip in order to unlock the main door blocking my way to the next boss fight, the Harbinger. The Lost were incredibly annoying to deal with and gave me my 3rd death of the run. Fuck me. God damn it! What the f— Eventually, I was able to squeak by and trigger the boss fight, only to get immediately owned. This happened a couple of times.
I promise.
What?! Oh my god!
A sacrifice.
What?!
I told him.
Dude!
You don't deserve to be a disciple.
Oh my god! Until I decided to try a combination of smoke and shock bolts.
Stop fighting. Where are you? Stop fighting. You think you're too good to fight me?
Nice.
That's it. I'm done playing with you.
Can I move?
Let. Stop running.
Nice. God damn it! Please tell me this kills him. Yes! God.
What happened?
I don't know. When Liam, but he wasn't. Theodore.
Poor.
You didn't have it. So what now?
Don't
Let's
care.
take a look.
I think
Dead.
it's on the other side of the room.
I never wanted to repeat the fight against the Harbinger again, so I used my 5th of 7 saves. After blowing up the satellite, Chapter 11 was done. Chapter 12 was a bunch of story stuff that I'm not going to get into, other than Torres's, the woman from the cabin's, death, because she was kind enough to leave me with her rifle. This event marked the end of the chapter. Give me the gun. Chapter 13 was a stealth mission to the other side of Union, where I had to dodge a wide variety of free-roaming enemies. Once I made it to the next objective, I decided to use my 6th of 7 saves because I knew the next bit coming up, the firewalk. I got unlucky once. Ah! Med! No! I'm dead. Dude! Then beat it on my 2nd try. Ah! Come on! Yeah! Woo! 2nd try! Much like my panic save for Stefano, I didn't know if I was going to get that lucky again, so I used my final save at the bottom of Theodore's stronghold, and Chapter 13 was complete. Even though I made it this far, I still had to beat 3 of the hardest sections back to back to back without any saves in between. This is where The Evil Within 2 reared its ugly head. Chapter 14 was and was not the worst The Evil Within 2 had thrown at me. The sprint to the lever and the spiral staircase wasn't that bad. The next section was a little tougher because I had to play hide and seek with harbingers and disciples, but also wasn't that bad. Even the trio of Spawn right before Theodore's boss fight wasn't that challenging. Hell, Theodore himself wasn't too much to handle. This chapter was painful for the simple reason that I couldn't save after the boss fight, meaning each time I died, it was back to square one. Even after surviving Theodore, the game's next chapter threw an army of rock lost and a mini-boss my way. Each time I died here, I was back to the base of Theodore's tower. These were the deaths that broke me. God damn it! What the? No!
Oh, God.
Whoa! No! No! Are you shitting me? Eventually, after a new level of stubborn determination, I put the effigy down . No way!
Please,
Yeah!
the last of it.
Okay, one more boss. And chapter 15 as well. Chapter 16 brought me to the final fight of the game against the Matriarch, where I intended to be the last one standing. Holy shit, I won!
Yippee!
Woo! And then, yes! Whew! It only took 8 hours? God damn. So, the question you've probably been asking yourself throughout this video was, how many deaths did it take? It took me 8 deaths. Was it worth it? Absolutely not. This is the one challenge that I was absolutely dreading when I did my Evil Within 2 playthrough, and it definitely did not disappoint in terms of the reasons why I would hate it. It was awful. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. It was that bad. Sure, Akumu, I died over 380 times, but at least there, I knew what to expect. Death was constant, swift, and fairly obvious when it was going to happen. Classic mode, on the other hand, was absolute torture, especially when you don't have the save that you wanted to be saved at. You don't have that, you're repeating chunks of the game you already beat hours ago, and you feel like you're wasting time. So, in a nutshell, no, I would never, ever, ever recommend Classic mode. It is 100% not worth it. That being said, I now beat the Evil Within 2, but even still, not worth it. Absolute misery. With all of that being said, I'm Raging Bull 2008, and thank you so much for watching my second video. See ya!